On September 18, 2025, the settlement of Bordanifka in the Russian-occupied Luhansk region lay shrouded in thick fog, a natural veil concealing the events about to unfold. Concealed amid sparse tree lines and reinforced concrete structures, the massive ammunition depot of the 17th Tank Regiment, part of the 70th Motorized Rifle Division, stood as a formidable logistics fortress, supplying munitions and drones to Russian forces on the Donetsk front.
The depot held more than 19,000 drones of various types, ranging from the high-speed Molnia, capable of 124 miles per hour maximum velocity with a 4.4-pound payload, to the Boomerang reconnaissance variant, offering 90 minutes of flight time and infrared imaging, the upgraded Vandal Novgorodsky's FPV with a 2.2-pound warhead and encrypted remote control, and the Gorinyi, carrying an 11-pound GPS inertial guided bomb. It also stored approximately 2,000 Zupka-14 guided tank rounds, each with a 2.5 to 3.1 mile range, propelled by rocket motor and laser-guided for lethal precision against armored targets, along with 10,152 mm artillery shells, equivalent to 13.2 pounds of TNT explosive power. 5,000 TM62 anti-tank mines capable of penetrating 3.9 inches of steel, and 20,000 RGD-5 hand grenades with a 23-foot lethal radius.
Thousands of additional 152mm artillery shells, anti-tank mines, hand grenades, and small arms ammunition were stockpiled here, making Bordanifka a strategic target too vital to ignore. Under cover of darkness, Ukrainian forces, through meticulous preparation and bold execution, launched a drone strike that reduced the depot to ashes in just 20 minutes. The assault not only demolished the facility, but also severed Russian supply lines, shaking the morale of frontline units. Before diving into today's main content, take 2 seconds to comment with number 2 if you support Ukraine, number 3 if you support Russia, or number 4 if you are neutral. Preparations for the strike began weeks earlier in secret Ukrainian rear area bases, roughly 37 miles from Bordanifka. Intelligence officers, working closely with the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, labored tirelessly to build a comprehensive target picture. Western partner satellite imagery revealed constant rail traffic hauling munitions and drones into the area. Each week, at least 3 656-foot-long trains carrying about 50 ammunition and equipment containers were observed moving through the nearby station, underscoring the enormous logistical scale. Local resistance reports confirmed the presence of Zub K-14 rounds, each valued at $10,000, alongside 19,000 drones, averaging $2,500 apiece, plus thousands of artillery shells, mines, and grenades. These accounts were corroborated through local spy networks, including civilians covertly photographing the depot with mobile phones.
NASA's FIRMS monitoring system detected anomalous activity, such as elevated heat signatures from transport trucks, reinforcing the assessment that Bordanifka served as a key logistics hub. In a Spartan command room lit by the blue glow of digital screens, Ukrainian officers sketched the plan: employ swarms of Punisher kamikaze drones, 6.6-pound explosive payload, 31-mile range, 75 miles per hour top speed, upgraded FPV drones, 3.3-pound warhead, 62 miles per hour, and Bayraktar TB2 reconnaissance drones, 16,400 feet ceiling, carrying 48.5-pound MAM-L guided bombs for the strike. The scheme relied on 3D simulations of the depot, drawn from satellite data and prior reconnaissance drone flights, ensuring thorough analysis of every approach angle.
to penetrate Russian air defenses, potentially including Panzer S-1 systems, 12.4-mile range, 5,000 rounds per minute rate of fire, phased array radar, and Tor M2, 7.5-mile range, 10-second reaction time. Electronic warfare, EW teams, were tasked with jamming radars and communications links. EW assets, including the Krasuka 4, capable of jamming out to 62 miles, were positioned to blind Russian radars. The strike window was set for 4 a.m. to exploit the dense fog for drone concealment and to degrade Russian optical sensors.
On the night before the assault, in an open field ringed by deserted wheat fields, Ukrainian technicians worked under dim flashlight beams, inspecting every detail of 25 Punisher drones and 15 FPV drones. Each Punisher carried a 6.6-pound high-explosive warhead equivalent to 9.9 pounds of TNT, sufficient to breach 20-inch thick concrete walls. The more compact FPV drones bore 3.3-pound anti-armor warheads, piloted via virtual reality goggles. 3 Bayraktar TB2 drones, equipped with infrared cameras and standoff capability, stood ready for overwatch and target refinement. Technicians operated in harsh conditions, with nighttime temperatures dipping below 41 degrees Fahrenheit, verifying batteries, motors, and navigation systems to prevent failures in foggy weather. Drones were programmed for low-altitude flight below 328 feet to evade Panzer S-1 and Tor M2 radars. An EW team equipped with Buk M1 jamming gear operated from an armored truck 12.4 miles from the target. The truck, camouflaged with foliage netting, relocated frequently to avoid Russian reconnaissance aircraft detection. The drone formation split into 3 waves, the first with 15 Punishers targeting Zubkak 14 and artillery shell storage, the second with 15 FPVs hitting fuel containers and flammable drone areas, the third with 10 reserve Punishers for final destruction. Each wave had a designated leader communicating over encrypted channels for precise coordination.
At 3:45 a.m., drone engines began humming, shattering the field's silence. The first wave of 15 Punishers launched, skimming tall grass at 75 miles per hour in V formation with 164-foot spacing to prevent collisions. GPS inertial guidance ensured accurate trajectories despite potential jamming. Remote pilots, stationed in modified containers 37 miles away, monitored progress via real-time data feeds. The 30-minute flight encountered strong northerly winds buffeting the drones. One Punisher suffered battery issues at 12.4 miles, prompting its pilot, with over 500 hours of experience, to switch to autonomous mode and reroute via backup path to stay on mission. The thick fog, limiting visibility to about 164 feet, provided ideal cover against Russian optical sensors. However, a Tor M2 radar 3.1 miles from the depot picked up faint signals from the formation. Ukrainian EW countered by activating jammers to emit spoofed signals from the east, simulating an approaching Su-25 squadron and diverting Russian air defenses. Simultaneously, 5 decoy drones launched from 6.2 miles east of Bordanifka broadcast false radar signatures to draw fire. Panzer S-1 systems with rapid-fire guns and guided missiles quickly locked onto the decoys, expending hundreds of rounds in 30 seconds. 2 decoys were downed, but they succeeded in diverting attention from the main force. The lead Punisher wave, at 262 feet altitude, approached from the northwest. At 1.2 miles out, pilots shifted to attack mode. Bayraktar TB2 feeds confirmed precise bunker locations, enabling optimal strike angles. Infrared imagery from the Bayraktar TB2 at 16,400 feet revealed the depot's concrete walls emerging ghostly through the mist. The first Punisher dove at full speed, its 6.6-pound warhead slamming into the northern Zub K-14 bunker. A massive explosion shook the ground, brilliant flash piercing the fog and illuminating the night sky. Chain reaction detonations of Zub K-14 rounds sent flames soaring dozens of meters high. The initial blast shattered the 3.3-foot thick concrete roof, hurling debris that wrecked nearby logistics trucks. Subsequent Punishers, spaced 5 seconds apart, struck other sections, targeting 152mm artillery bunkers. Each detonation rocked the area, scattering concrete and metal fragments hundreds of feet. One 152mm shell storage triggered a secondary blast felt across 1.2 miles, obliterating an adjacent auxiliary warehouse.
The second wave of 15 FPVs approached from the south at 164 feet altitude to skirt radar. Crosswinds disrupted 3 drones' paths, requiring constant VR goggle corrections from pilots. One FPV lost video feed at 0.6 miles out, but inertial navigation guided it onward. Near the depot, FPV pilots targeted fuel tanks and storage zones for Molnia and Boomerang drones. Pilots, honed through hundreds of training hours, achieved meter-level accuracy against the most flammable points. Lead FPV struck a 1,320-gallon fuel tank, igniting a gigantic fireball that lit the southern sector. Lithium-ion batteries in Vanbal Novgorodsky and Gorenich drones detonated, triggering cascading fires. Flames raced through adjacent tanks, forming a 66-foot-high firewall that melted metal drone containers. FPV pilots, sniper precise, directed drones into small targets like battery stacks or grenade piles, amplifying the structure. One FPV fell to Tor M2 fire at 984 feet out, but the remaining 14 completed their runs, turning the southern depot into an inferno. Thick black smoke billowed skyward, visible from 6.2 miles away.
Russian air defenses, despite advanced systems, struggled against Ukrainian tactics. Panzer S-1 radars and rapid guns attempted locks, but fog degraded optical performance. Decoys continued drawing fire, forcing thousands of wasted anti-air rounds, while downing only 3 Punishers and 1 FPV. Systems designed for larger aircraft proved ineffective against small, swift drones. Ukrainian EW gear from the armored truck disrupted Russian air defense coordination, preventing timely responses. A nearby Tor M2 detected the FPV wave, but downed just one more drone before being overwhelmed by sheer numbers and speed. Russian troops in the area, unprepared for the sudden assault, descended into panic amid successive blasts. Many attempted to flee, but chain explosions and dense smoke turned evacuation into chaos, increasing personnel losses.
As secondary detonations spread, Bayraktar TB2 relayed live footage to the Ukrainian command post 37 miles away. Imagery showed the central and southern depot fully destroyed, though an eastern corner holding anti-tank mines and grenades remained intact. The reserve wave of 10 Punishers launched immediately. Approaching from the north at 75 miles per hour, they targeted reinforced steel bunkers. The final Punisher struck an anti-tank mine storage, triggering the concluding explosion that collapsed the entire structure. As blasts subsided, Bordanifka vanished beneath black smoke and flames, debris strewn everywhere. Fragments of steel containers and concrete created a devastated battlefield scene, with craters several meters deep scarring the ground. In the Ukrainian command post, cheers erupted as Bayraktar TB2 confirmed total target destruction. Officers, technicians, and drone pilots embraced, exchanging handshakes and victorious smiles. Some toasted with bottled water, while others gazed silently at screens, absorbing the moment's weight. The Bordanifka success was more than material damage. It boosted morale, reinforcing that Ukraine could erode Russian strength through ingenuity and resolve. Officers promptly analyzed strike data for a Defense Ministry report, while some troops penned letters home sharing the triumph. Post-strike damage assessment revealed a major Ukrainian victory and severe Russian setback. The entire Bordanifka depot was annihilated. It contained about 2,000 ZUBK-14 rounds at $10,000 each, totaling $20 million. More than 19,000 drones, including Molnia, $2,000 each, Boomerang, $3,000 each, Vandal Novgorodsky, $1,500 each, and Gorinich, $4,000 each, averaging $2,500, resulted in $47.5 million in losses. Roughly 10,000 152mm shells, $1,000 each, 5,000 TM62 mines, $500 each, and 20,000 RGD-5 grenades, $50 each, added $13.5 million. Russian personnel casualties were estimated at around 50 killed or wounded, plus 10 logistics trucks destroyed, inflating replacement and training costs.
Depot infrastructure, concrete facilities, logistics vehicles, and storage equipment was valued at $5 million. Total Russian losses reached $86 million, excluding strategic impacts from severed Donetsk frontline supplies, disrupting offensives for weeks. Russia had to redirect assets from other sectors, weakening fronts like Kharkiv and Zaporizhia. Ukrainian deployment costs included 25 Punishers, $10,000 each, totaling $250,000, 15 FPVs, $500 each, totaling $7,500, 3 Bayraktar TB2 operations, $50,000, and EW equipment, $100,000, summing to $407,500, or 0.47% of Russian damages. This excludes personnel and logistics overhead, estimated at $50,000, yet remained far lower than inflicted harm.
Comparing total damage to investment, Ukraine achieved exceptional economic efficiency. With $407,500 expended, it inflicted $86 million in Russian losses, a 1-to-211 ratio, meaning each dollar spent generated $211 in enemy damage. Conversely, Russia lost the entire depot and faced strategic setbacks, with replacement and reconstruction costs likely doubling initial figures to over $150 million, including transport and redeployment. This disparity highlights Ukraine's low-cost technology, precise intelligence, and innovative strategy, delivering asymmetric impact. The Bordanifka operation carried broad repercussions. Destroying over 19,000 drones severely impaired Russian reconnaissance and strike capabilities, especially in Donetsk, where drones supported fires. Losing Jube K-14 rounds restricted responses to Ukrainian armored forces in open terrain. Moreover, the victory bolstered Ukraine's image as an adaptive military, leveraging affordable tech for major effect. Yet it posed challenges. Russia might bolster defenses or retaliate, requiring Ukraine to innovate further. Ukrainian military analysts anticipated additional Russian S-400 deployments or Su-35 patrols, prompting development of stealth drones or enhanced night operations. Still, the flames at Bordanifka endure as a symbol of Ukrainian resilience and ingenuity in defending sovereignty. Comment with number 2 if you support Ukraine, number 3 if you support Russia, or number 4 if you are neutral.